Okay, so this next article that I'm going to read is called Contact Support. Contact support. Are you feeling isolated? Here's how to tap into the healing power of touch. Every night for 34 years, Harriet and her husband would hold hands as they drifted off to sleep. When he died 6 years ago, one of the things Clark missed the most was his reassuring hand clasp at the end of the day. To soothe the loss, the resident sometimes found it helpful to hold her own hand as she lay in bed at night. This was comforting in a strange way, the 77-year-old recalls. For Polly, it was a divorce that brought about the sudden loss of touch. When I was married, touching was an automatic part of my life, and I don't just mean sex, but being hugged, being touched, having my husband put his hand on my shoulder when he walked past me in the kitchen. Just want to let y'all know, men, women, I mean, as a woman, in general, parents, mother, daughter, mother, son, yeah. Like when you see somebody doing their day to day routine, their chores, it feels really good to have somebody put their hand on your back. Just touch them. You know, I see you, I notice you, I feel you. Um, I can definitely say from experience of being in a 8 year relationship, I definitely wished or longed or missed or wanted more of that. So just reading that, it's like, yeah. She says, when I got divorced and that was not available anymore, it just felt so disconnected and lonely. Though we seldom talk about it, touch is an essential to our well being as fresh air or sunshine. Touch, touch. A lot of people are isolated and by themselves right now, but yes, human touch is so important. And I think as a society, have been comfortable with touching less. And then I know a lot of people, teachers and whatnot, don't want to get labeled or accused of inappropriate touching. So there's just so much, but that goes into it and gets so complicated. But really, it shouldn't be. Human touch is very, very necessary. If you know an older person, and I'm around a lot of older people, and I wonder, what can I do to encourage them to reach for my hand, or should it just be me reaching for their hand more so they won't feel insecure about saying, can you hold my hand? I think that's hard for a lot of people to do and to ask of others. Can you just hold my hand? I encourage you guys to do it more, especially with older. I mean, anybody really. So, though we seldom talk about it, touch is essential to our well being as fresh air or sunshine. Unfortunately, many of us do not get enough of this physical and psychological nutrient, and the deficit tends to get worse as we age. If we are single and do not have children or grandchildren living nearby, we can go weeks or even months without receiving an affectionate hug. This lack of contact adds a level of psychological distress to the social isolation that so often goes with getting older. Massage therapists and other professionals call this phenomenon skin hunger. Wow. Clark remembers the day she first realized the importance of touch and the agony of being deprived of it. It was back in the 1940s, and she was a student nurse making her rounds when an older gentleman made a poignant request. Would you please touch my face? Nobody does anymore. Wow, that like really is bringing tears to my eyes. Just thinking about everything going on with the coronavirus, and everybody's like practice social distancing, um but human touch is something that cannot be replaced at all. Me growing up, I couldn't stand people touching my face because I had acne really bad. But now, like, I don't mind it. Wow, that's really touching. So I'm gonna keep on reading. That's a footloose. Friendly touch can lower stress hormones and can even give your immune system a boost. I was in this parenting class that I took, she talked about having a regular routine morning or at night, with your children and just holding their hands or, going through a routine and say, I love you hands, I love you ears. You can do it with yourself. I love you ears. I love you chin. I love you nose. But you might want to do it with your family. So, after that, she became aware of the beneficial effects of such things as sponge baths and back rubs, which were a routine part of her nursing work. Touch is very healing, especially to people who are elderly, ill, or disabled, she says. It makes you feel more real somehow. Wow, because older people, disabled people, and people who are ill probably have limited contact with people. So, yeah, touch, human touch makes you feel more real somehow. I definitely agree with that. A growing body of research confirms Clark's observation. Safe, caring touch is remarkably good, not only for the body, but for the mind and spirit as well. It reduces stress in the most primal of ways, communicating far more deeply than words, a sense of concern, comfort, and connection. American doctors first recognized the power of touch almost a century ago when they confronted the fatal effects of taking it away. A child rearing manual that was popular at the time advised caregivers to resist picking up infants when they cried or otherwise spoiling them with too much cuddling. Soon, hospitals that adopted those modern practices began to see an alarming number of babies succumbing to a mysterious wasting syndrome. The infants became withdrawn, lost weight, and eventually died. Doctors looked everywhere for a cure until finally, on a visit to Germany, one physician met up with an elderly nurse who was famous for bringing the sickest babies back to health. Old Anna's treatment was exactly the reverse of the scientific practice that had so captivated Americans. She simply held the babies in her arms and lavished them with cuddling and caressing. In recent years, Old Anna's wisdom has been confirmed by numerous studies showing the power of massage to help premature babies gain weight and start to flourish in other ways as well. Though most of this research focused on infants, one study looked at the effects on volunteers who provided the massage. In this case, men and women in their 70s and 80s. The researchers, to their surprise, found that those giving the massage benefited just as much as those receiving it. Wow. Having like the universe be talking to me a lot when I read. So they benefited just as much. We knew that most of the volunteers had lost a spouse and had been experiencing significant touch deprivation, says Tiffany Field, PhD. After just 6 weeks, the massage givers reported improvements in a variety of areas. Not only were they experiencing less depression and anxiety and making fewer visits to the doctor's office, but they were telephoning friends more often and even drinking less coffee. So it was just the biological effect it had. So it wasn't just the biological effect, it had a social or psychological effect as well. In other studies, massage has been shown to boost immune activity, ease back pain, alleviate nausea in cancer patients, and reduce agitation in those with Alzheimer's disease. Researchers don't yet understand exactly how it works, but field theorizes that massage with moderate pressure stimulates pressure receptors under the skin, which then triggers a significant lowering of stress hormones. When we talk about touch, we're talking about stress reduction because so much disease is partly caused or exacerbated by stress. Khan believes hands on therapies like massage should be considered key components in an array of treatment protocols. But you don't have to have a massage to access the healing power of touch. Even casual, everyday touch can have profound effects. For example, a study found that students who were briefly touched on the hand while checking out library books reported more positive attitudes toward life in general than students who had not been touched. A similar study conducted in restaurants in Oxford, Mississippi, found that waitresses who occasionally touched their patrons got bigger tips than those who had not. Indeed, even contact with an animal can heal. According to new research from the University of Columbia, the simplest act of petting a beloved dog releases a cascade of feel good hormones in humans, including serotonin and uh, oxytocin. But if touch is such a panacea, why aren't doctors prescribing foot massages instead of pharmaceuticals? Why don't friends stay in for back rubs instead of going out for coffee? A big part of the answer seems to be cultural. We live in a tactophobic culture, one that is very low touch compared with many others. Our skin is our largest sense organ, and we ignore it incredibly in this culture. For example, in many Middle Eastern countries, businessmen commonly greet each other with full body hugs and even walk down the street arm in arm. In this country, by contrast, unless it takes place on the football field, almost any physical contact between straight men is strictly taboo. Wow. Wow. So what is it called? A tactophobic culture. And now we're gonna be even more tactophobic because of the coronavirus. But wow, like so after we get a handle on this though, human touch is really essential and part of what we need. Perhaps it all goes back to our roots, our Puritan fear of sexuality, and our pioneer need to claim our own space. No touching elbows in the movie theater, please. While on the other hand, a constant barrage of erotic imagery in our media, along with sensationalized stories about pedophilia and other kinds of abuse, persuades us that all touch is ultimately about sex. Ain't that the truth? Puritan fear of sexuality and our pioneer need to claim our own space. And all touch is not about sex. Even though I'm often paranoid about that. The upshot is from adolescence onward, most Americans regard touch with great suspicion. Just how extreme is the American taboo against touch, even among couples? Consider the result of a cross cultural study observing couples in various countries interacting in cafes. In Puerto Rico, the couple touched each other on an average of 180 times per hour. In France, they touched 110 times an hour. In the United States, the average couple touched only twice. Wow. But even within our hands off culture, individuals vary widely in how comfortable they are with touch. Timmons, 71, of Columbus, Ohio, finds herself at the low touch end of the spectrum. Largely, she believes, because of her upbringing. In my family of origin, like many others of that generation, we rarely touched, she says. There was very little display of outward emotion, good or bad. Becoming Unitarian helped Timmons believe they're the huggiest gang around. And yet, recently, when sitting at the bedside of a cousin who was dying of cancer, she found it difficult to take hold of her loved one's hand. I guess I still carry a bit of touch phobia, she says. Wow. On the other hand, other end of the spectrum, Esther, 74, a former member of the Montgomery County Council in Maryland, whose parents were getting massages and taking the waters in hot tubs for as long as she can remember, says she feels best when she has a full body massage once a week. I have no inhibition about it whatsoever, she says. It relaxes my muscles and makes me feel whole. Wherever on the spectrum you find yourself, you can increase the touch you experience. Start by making a habit of greeting friends with a hug or a cheek to cheek air kiss. Of course, you'll want to check first to make sure your embrace is welcome. Treat yourself to a pedicure. A foot massage is likely to be included. Or if you're bolder, invite a friend to exchange back or shoulder rubs. I used to do that in my office or try to give my coworkers massage. I grew up understanding the need for touch since I had an elderly father that I took care of a lot. Whatever you do, whatever you do will probably feel risky at first. After all, you're up against the weight of a cultural taboo and perhaps a lifetime of touch avoidance. So have a sense of humor. Accept that you're going to feel awkward and make the decision to do it anyway. The reward will be more than worth it. To go out and get a massage or a hug from a friend can really change the way you feel. It will make you feel good about being alive. Ways to get more touch into your life. While most of us can't afford a daily or even monthly massage, there are plenty of other good opportunities to boost your tactile quotient. Here are a few to try. Barter back rubs. Enlist a friend to trade shoulder rubs, foot rubs, or hand or scalp massages. You don't need any special training. Just follow your instincts and your partner's feedback. Applying more or less pressure is needed. If you're really adventurous, you can sign up for a week-end course at a local hospital or massage school together and learn some finger points of massage technique. Number two, help yourself. Surprisingly, you can get the health benefits of touch by doing your own massage. Your hands, feet, legs, neck, and face are good places to start. Using your thumbs to apply moderate pressure and kneading your flesh as you would bread dough. Or try rolling a tennis ball over the muscles of your thighs or underneath the soles of your feet to stimulate pressure points. Feel pretty. If you visit a salon for a manicure or pedicure, you're likely to get a hand or a foot massage in the bargain. And who hasn't known the deep pleasure of having professional shampoo? Because the scalp is so densely packed with pressure receptors, a little stimulation here can yield a lot of stress relief. Wow. Number four, kid around. Children are natural touch magnets. They haven't unlearned the spontaneous urge to climb up into your lap, hold your hand or rub your nose. So babysit the grandchildren often, yours or somebody else's, or volunteer at a daycare center, or sign up to cuddle babies in a neurological unit of your local hospital. The babies will thrive and so will you. Reach out. Link arms with a friend the next time you're out walking. Lay a hand on his or her forearm during an intimate conversation. And with friends and family, ask for a hug upon meeting or saying goodbye. Simply everyday acts of touch break down the barriers of isolation around us and deepen our bonds with those we love. So true. Hug a hamster. Petting a dog will lower your blood pressure and heart rate and the dog's. The same applies to cats, rabbits, horses, and even hamsters. Indeed, any warm bodied creature that responds to your touch will have a grounding effect on the warm blooded animal that is you. Clean up. In the bath or shower, use a loofah, a coarse fiber sponge, to exfoliate dead cells and stimulate pressure receptors in your skin. After all, towel off vigorously to increase circulation and wake up your body. 8. Cut a rug. Though our culture discourages most public forms of touching, social dancing has always been an exception to the rule. Swing dance, ballroom dance, square dance, tango are all some simple hip hop, jazz dance, African dance, are all some simple, acceptable ways of sharing human contact with friends or even strangers. Sign up for a lesson at a local studio or get connected with local groups in your area. Get a hobby. Gardening, cooking, sewing, and knitting are all ways of exercising the precious sense of touch. Or go for a walk and experience the sensation of wind and sun on your skin. Go swimming and revel in the silky feel of the water. Though these and 100 other humble, commonplace activities, we literally get in touch with the world, feeling more alive and real in the process. Wow, human touch is yeah, it's so vital and so important, and just being aware of your body. Um, so I encourage you guys to massage yourself, touch every part of your body. Don't get freaked out if you feel something sore or tender. Just say I'm grateful for being able to touch and feel and have feeling. Yeah, I love y'all. Stay encouraged. And yeah.